and yours is the most accurate.
Oh.
In my opinion, yours makes sense.
Oh.
No, I mean, no, and I'll go through it. First of all, Cleveland needs a quarterback.
Yep.
Number two, it appears New York's not going to move at quarterback. So if they're not, they have had since Tiki Barber, they've had an abysmal running game. And you've been on this. Barkley's a home run hitter.
Yeah,
Makes
I think
sense.
Barkley's a great player, and obviously if he's available for them and they're not going to move out. Now, I will say that I think Bradley Chubb might be in play at number 2, and here's the reason. With the JPP move, they know that the blueprint is quarterback and to rush the passer. They have not had a great pass rush since winning those 2 Super Bowls, so they might try to upgrade at the pass rush spot.
They've already got pretty good defensive personnel.
I agree. That's why I stick with Saquon Barkley,
Yeah.
but I think Bradley Chubb may again be in play at number 2.
Okay, you have the Jets going Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
Now, again, I think you're doing this based on information. I don't think you're so I wouldn't do this.
I know. Well,
okay, because
the
you
NFL
moved.
community likes Baker a lot more than the media community. The media community and the analysts out there that you're clicking their articles, you're listening to their shows. There's a lot of the red flag, Baker Mayfield's a partier, blah blah blah. That's not what the NFL people are getting, because when Baker's around NFL personnel, they understand that he is a football guy. And this is what I've been trying to tell you for a long time here. This guy is not off the rails off the field. He had a couple of bad incidents, and I'm right with you with saying, hey, that police video is awful. You don't want to be a guy running away from the police. That's why I don't have him number 1, quite frankly, because over the last 2 or 3 seasons, there's nobody in college football that has played the position of quarterback better than Baker Mayfield.
That's fair.
And
that I cannot deny. I can say, though, that Lincoln Riley made 2 guys at Eastern Carolina look great, and I can say Big 12, have they disbanded tackling in recent years? So offenses numbers, Baylor quarterbacks, they had a lot of quarterbacks from this conference that rack them up.
I think that's a lazy argument.
Am I
Here's
being
why.
lazy?
Yes, here's why. Because when you look at the games against, like, Georgia, he was phenomenal against Georgia in the Rose Bowl. He was insanely good at Ohio State against a very good Ohio State team.
He was amazing.
In fact, sitting down with Urban Meyer, I think it was 2 weeks after that, we were getting ready to do the Ohio State-Maryland game, Gus and I, and we were sitting in Urban Meyer's office, and I just asked him, about that game. And I was like, what did you think went down? And he looked me dead in the eyes, and he was like, I've never had an opposing quarterback play that well against me ever. Ever. He says he didn't know if there's ever been an opposing quarterback play that well at the shoe, ever. And he was stone cold serious, and I was like, wow.
Yeah.
So clearly a lot of praise for Baker Mayfield, and that was against his stiffest competition.
Then you have the Browns taking Bradley Chubb and Denver taking Denzel Ward to keep Talib gone.
Yeah.
My belief is there's 3 players in this draft 4 players in this. No, I shouldn't say that. There's just a handful of guys that people think are no bust. Mm-hmm. Saquon, Bradley Chubb, Denzel Ward, Quentin Nelson, Minkah Fitzpatrick. So let's just get the quarterbacks out of it. Those 5 guys, and my scouts that I trust, they're like, those aren't really bust players.
No, like they're going to contribute.
I mean, Denzel Ward, Bradley Chubb, and by the way, corner, pass rusher, those are wildly valuable. We've marginalized the safety. A great corner. I think
Hybrid
Denzel
safety.
Ward, I got to tell you, a source that I trust, whoever can get Denzel Ward, I hear he's the hottest guy in this.
Here's what you have to know about modern football, both in the college game and in the NFL.
Okay.
It's moving to, and this is a technical term, I'll explain it for you. It's moving to a closed field, a middle closed look. Almost everybody plays with only one high safety. Okay, so that means that the corners have to be great man players because they're going to be responsible for a third of the field in zone and man-to-man when it's man. They've got to be great on the outside. That's why Denzel Ward and Aqib Talib and all these guys, they're so valuable because they've got to play man on the outside and a middle closed look, one single safety. And then what also happens in a middle closed look is you've got to have a great hybrid player at the other safety position because, Colin, he's going to move down in coverage. He's going to move down in run support. He's going to be at all 3 levels at times. He's going to blitz. He's going to play linebacker. He's going to split out on the slot. He's going to then have to play a half safety when you're playing a 2-safety look. So that hybrid safety has become very valuable. And look at what we have. Pass rusher in the top 5. Corner in the top 5, and then the next player taken outside of a quarterback is the hybrid safety. Then you get into your offensive lineman, maybe another safety after that, and Quentin Nelson and Derwin James.
It's interesting about Josh Rosen. You have him drop to 8, which is not significant unless you realize many, in fact, almost in yourself included, many of you have said he's the most NFL ready. So if you took the names out and I said, okay, there's this one guy, he's the most NFL ready, he's the best in the pocket, he's probably the smartest. Okay, if I just took names out, you'd be like, oh, that's the number one pick,
right?
Okay, so something's happening when you've got him third.
There's two things happening. First and foremost is that everyone is questioning his durability.
That's fair.
And it's absolutely fair. Part of the problem is, and this is going to sound crazy, but you've got to be tough to play the quarterback position, right?
Yeah.
Everybody knows that.
You get hit a lot, yeah.
Now, there is a line of kind of demarcation where if you're too tough, Colin, you expose yourself to too many hits.
Andrew Luck and Big Ben.
100%.
Cam Newton.
Those guys are big enough where it hasn't totally crippled their career, in particular in the Big Ben case and in Cam Newton's case. We're seeing the fruits of that toughness, quote unquote, for Andrew Luck, where he hasn't been healthy now for a year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah.
Rosen doesn't nearly have the stature of a Roethlisberger or a Cam Newton physically.
But he'll stand in that pocket.
He will stand in there and take some wicked hits, which leads to missing games. So you're not going to help anybody win games while you're missing games. So that's the biggest knock right now on Josh Rosen. He's just tough enough to get himself in trouble. Really tough kid, but of course that can work.
Let me tell you something. Your draft is interesting.
Why is that?
Your mock draft. We don't have this written down. Holy moly. This is really interesting. You have the Dallas Cowboys. If this happens, this is the best fit, non-quarterback for a team. I'm not kidding. This Vita Vea for Washington.
Oh, he's a good player.
Holy.
And
he's
they need
Washington's
help on
best.
that side of the football.
Marcus Peters and Vita Vea are the best Washington players, even better than Shaq Thompson as pros.
Yeah.
You get him going to Dallas. Dallas needs a defensive tackle and a safety. If Dallas gets this kid, he will start and be. Wow, that's an interest. By the way, here's another one. This one's crazy.
Crazy in a good way, I'm hoping?
It's in a terrible way. You have the Steelers taking a running back.
Well,
Ronald Jones, USC.
Yeah, part of that, listen, part of this is when you go through these mock, you're trying to look at everything, obviously. You're trying to look at team fit. You're trying to look at need. You're trying to look at best available.
Oh.
And there's part of me that just believes that the Steelers will be in the running back market.
Okay, I get it now.
Okay,
yeah, Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay, that makes sense. Let me see one more.
So it's not always exactly what you think.
No, but you have a
theory.
theory.
You're taking the red pen to the mock draft.
No, but when I look at your mock draft, most of the players fit.
Right.
That one didn't, but now it does. Okay, here's another one I don't like. Don't like it.
Go ahead.
First of all, I'm a big believer in trading down. You got the Colts trading down again, which I love. I love Chris Ballard because I think they need more players, not one player.
They need a roster, not one singular player.
You haven't taken Calvin Ridley, Alabama, who I love as a wide receiver, but they need linebackers.
Yeah, they
do.
a
lot of them.
But remember now, when you get linebackers and you need linebacker depth, I think that's built in the second and third round. You don't need one great linebacker. You need lots of really good linebackers. So that's why they've got to address their offense. They've got to address weapons, in particular on the outside. You get Calvin Ridley, and with those trade backs, remember, you're not stockpiling first-round picks. You're stockpiling second- and third-round picks. So they're going to address that linebacker position in a lot of different team needs. With all the stockpile of picks, I have them after the trade back with the Jets, and then I think they're going to trade back again. I think I have them Buffalo jumping up to that spot.
By the way, Jim Morris said something this week, and I'll have you respond.
Yeah.
I thought it was. I actually really appreciated his honesty on this because he's going to get blowback the minute Jim Morris said
about Rosen. I think it's on it. Listen, there's a lot of different directions. You could make the argument that he is trying to avoid his guy going to Cleveland.
Oh,
I think that might be in play. He's also, when you just listen to what he said, he's probably right. Because he lived with a guy in Josh Rosen who was not going to be told what to do or what to say.
Yes.
And he's been in the league, and he understands that city fit matters, right? You're going to have to, in particular being the face of a franchise, you're not kowtowing, but you've got to fit in with the fan base, right? They've got to gravitate towards you.
Because of my life, just because of my upbringing, how I was raised and you were raised, I wouldn't fit in Miami. I would be frustrated. If I was talented enough to be an NFL player, Miami's dysfunction, Washington's dysfunction wouldn't work for me.
Sure.
It wouldn't. Green Bay's, New England's rigidity would work. My high school basketball coach was my high school football coach was a yeller and a screamer. It is exactly what I needed.
I think Darnold probably fits at more places than Rosen.
Thank
but
you.
That's not a knock
I know.
on Rosen. It's just a fit. And Moore is getting criticized for talking about this. And it's like, oh, he's choosing Darnold over his own quarterback. Not necessarily the case. When I hear, read, see those comments, I think it's something very different. And like I said, I think it can be equally two things. One, he's trying to be accurate about fit. And also, there's a part of me that thinks he might be trying to save his quarterback from going to Cleveland.
Hey, here's something this is brutally honest. The lower you go in the first round, the better team you end up with.
That's true.
By the way,
true.
If Andrew Luck would have dropped to Houston's roster,
yeah,
Dwayne Brown left tackle, 2-star receivers, J.J. Watt.
Yep.
Like, you could make the argument that Rosen dropping, by the way,
could be good for him.
You have him going to Arizona. That's a decent roster with a superstar running back, a Hall of Fame wide receiver, actually some good wide receivers.
I don't really know what Arizona's doing right now, though. They've signed a couple of quarterbacks that make me scratch my head.
I don't get it either.
And then I had them kind of trading up to take a Rosen.
I think
know
you're
they're
right.
in love with Josh Allen.
Who is?
Arizona is. But now with their moves, I don't think that they're going to be moving up to get him. They're the one right now. I cannot get a beat on what they're trying to do.
Totally agree.
It's a little bit directionless.
Okay, now where do I, if I want to look at your mock draft, it's really fun. Go to your teams, look how he lines it up. Where do I go?
Foxsports.com. The mock is up there. I'll be coming out with a new mock next week. So the fourth mock will be coming out next week because free agency has gone wild this year. I think it's been one of the most wild free agency
nothing
periods
like it.
Maybe ever, and some head-scratching moves, i.e. even Arizona. So I'll have another one up there next week, our fourth edition.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.